Hi YouTube. It's been a while since I've actually posted anything on YouTube because I guess I procrastinated a little bit while, so it's been about a year, but I'm going to start posting more videos on more often because I enjoy sharing things that I find and buy and things I learn on through history and through numismatics. So first here I have two banknotes. Both of them are from the Bank of England. These are both £5 notes. These back then these would have been worth, and like if we were to count like purchasing power, these £5 notes would have been worth about £300 sterling now these days. It would have been able to purchase like £300 worth of goods and services. Which is why they're such large banknotes. They have fives all the way up to thousands and pounds. And first of all, I have this one right here. This one's from a 1923 Bank of England note. They're called white fibers, and they're very beautiful. They have a very attractive watermark. So you can see the 5 right there. You can see, in the very nice calligraphy that they do. These banknotes really haven't changed since like the 1850s. They just very conservative on their design. They always kept it pretty much the same thing. Like the Bank of England right there. There's the plate number, and then the serial numbers on each side. Promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of £5 sterling. This one is issued in London. These were still on the gold reserve at the time, so you could actually exchange this for gold specie or in gold bars. And then I have this one right here. This one is a Bank of England note, £5 as well, issued in London. This one's quite interesting. This one was issued in the 4th of March of 1938. But the interesting about this one is a complete fake. It's a counterfeit. An interesting story is that during World War II, Hitler asked Bernhard who was a Nazi officer, to start issuing banknotes and counterfeiting English currency in order to wreck the British economy and hurt the war effort on England's part. So what they did was they issued hundreds of millions of pounds sterling in banknotes, and they were planning on dropping them over England, and they were hoping that people would pick them up and spend them and cause widespread inflation. They never did this, however, because when the war turned against them, they decided to use it to purchase things that they wouldn't be able to if they had, because they were using the German mark, and it was not an international currency, and it was falling in prices. So they decided to use international currency like the pound sterling to pay for goods that they wouldn't be able to have access to. So this kind of money actually funded the release of Mussolini, which increased the war's length and time for about another 18 months. These were printed at Stockenhausen, and which was like north of Berlin. Bernhard hired, well, I guess forced Jews in Nazi concentration camps that were good at printing, engraving, and carpenters to make these banknotes. So, this is very interesting too, because these banknotes are so good at counterfeit wise that you cannot tell the difference. See, there's the attractive watermark for the real one, and there's the fake one. They both have perfect watermarks, and as you can see, the calligraphy on it is perfect as well. So, Bank of England, even its most senior professionals, could not actually tell the difference between them. The only way you can actually really tell the difference between the fake and the real one is that there's a couple very small counterfeit deterrences, but the most clear one is Britannia. Here's the eyes of Britannia. I have a light right there to like focus in on it. Britannia's right there. And you can notice her eyes, her nose, everything right there. And here's the fake one. There we go. The way you could tell is because the eyes and nose of Britannia were particularly bad, and we're actually not sure quite why, but Britannia was originally not a counterfeit deterrent, but she became one during the war. And that's the reason why we have such large faces on our banknotes today, because it's much easier to tell the difference in faces than it is in our banknotes. And then sometimes, occasionally, they'll have like pieces of wood like actually inside the paper, because that's the printing sometimes messes up. You have to make sure that the watermarks are perfectly aligned and read with the serial numbers. And then there's sometimes they mess with the printing. Like sometimes the F is supposed to have a full F, instead it has that little dash at the end of the F. And sometimes the chief cashier number, or the actual signature isn't actually the right one for that year, because the person actually wasn't actually working or actually in office that year, so that's like the wrong signature. Another interesting thing is that the paper, British paper, is usually a lot stronger. It has a texture of linen, but for the Bernhard notes, they actually have a more of a paper feel than a rag kind of feel for the linen. So it sounds like paper, and rather than actual linen, like the actual genuine notes. So this continued all the way up until the end of the war, and it caused such a problem for the Bank of England that they stopped printing large denomination notes. They didn't tell anybody about that either. They were just hoping to keep it secret for a while. So after the war, they made a new design of currency. This is a very interesting story to tell. I got the £5 note because it's a really nice note. They're very beautiful. Not generally expensive. I mean, this one cost about $200, and the fake ones usually cost $150. I got the real one because I just want to show the difference between the two. Not much of a difference, but they're very nice notes, and the white fibers are really nice. I thought they're beautiful notes. So that's the end of that, and thank you. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.